Hello, 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 everyone. It's Tuesday, and it's time for Taz Talk. Hello, I'm Coach Taz, and today we're diving in to our second in the series, the Stop It series. So stop it. Let's stop procrastination. Let's kick it to the curb. I'm ready. You ready? Let's go. Procrastination. The Oxford Dictionary defines procrastination as the act of unnecessarily, and get this, voluntarily delaying or postponing something despite the fact that there will be negative consequences for doing so. So why would we do that? It's crazy. It's just crazy. Why would we spend our time and our energy that takes us away from the people and the things that we love? Because while we're doing this thing called procrastination, we're avoiding it, there's a part of us that's over here thinking about the thing that we said we'd do that we're not going to do, and we're not present in the moment. At its core, procrastination is avoidance. So what's behind that? Well, there's a lot of information out there about procrastination, what it is, why we do it, are we being lazy? No, we're not being lazy. There's reasons behind it. There's different styles. There's all kinds of good information. And what I'd like to do is encourage you to get curious and to investigate and find out for yourself the information that's out there and what that means for you. Today, what I would like to do is talk about some things that we can actually do so that we can have more fun and spend time with the people we love, ourselves, our family, and our friends. And I hope you noticed, again, that today I noticed ourselves as the people that we love. And I mentioned that first because it all starts with loving ourselves. That's where love begins. And that's the step we take to live an inspired and full life with ourselves, our friends, and those we love. So let's look at what you can do to kick procrastination to the curb. First, recognize that it's avoidance. This is an avoidance technique. So just get real with yourself. And if you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, you are not keeping your word with yourself. Would you do that with a friend? Would you say, yes, I'll be there, and then just totally blow it off? That's a question you have to ask yourself. What's behind that? And start keeping your commitment to yourself as a form of self-love. When you keep your commitments to yourself, you'll notice your confidence increases, your self-esteem increases, your self-worth increases, your self-trust increases. It has a snowball effect. So recognize you're avoiding it, make a decision, you're going to do it, and keep your word. The next thing you can do is tap into your internal motivation. Now, there's two things I like to talk about when I talk about motivation. I'll keep it brief here, but there's external motivation and there's internal motivation, which I like to call mojo. So to tap into your mojo, which is your internal driver, comes from the heart, you need to get to the why this task or this thing that you want to do is important. It may be that it's just one of those things, it's the business of living and you need to be disciplined and you need to do it. Well, get to the core of why that's important. And one technique you can use is a 7 levels deep technique. There's information out there that you can Google, you can search for, you can find. We know Google is not the only search engine, so use the search engine of your choice and find out more about the 7 levels deep technique. I'll explain it briefly here, but it'll help you get to the why and get to that internal driver, get to the heart of the matter. And what you do, 7 levels deep, is you ask, why is this important? and then you get an answer. Now you can write it down and journal it, or you can, hear it and know it. And then you're going to ask again, using the answer you just received as part of the question. Why is this important? Now you're one level deep. And then you get an answer, and you ask, why is that important? And you go down 7 levels deep. So what you're doing is you're repeating the question over and over again, and you're getting an answer, and then you're asking, well, why is this important? And then why is that important? One thing you'll want to do is you do want to go 7 levels deep, not 4, not 5, not 6. There's something magical about this number 7, and it helps you get to the heart of the matter. So when events occur, we have all these survival techniques that we use, and things build up, and we stay up in our head because we want to protect our heart, right? So going 7 levels deep, somewhere between level 5 and level 6, you transfer from the answers, that what you're thinking about, the reasons, and it goes to your heart. And you'll know that you've gotten to the heart of the matter. They often say, you know your why when you cry. And these tears emote. So you may not express yourself as someone who cries a lot, but you may feel it. What you're going for is a feeling. If you cry, you know your why. If you're not a crier, you may feel it. If you don't feel it, you may have a lot of layers protecting your heart. So take your last answer that you got at level 7 and you start again. And that's your first question. Why is this important? And you go 7 levels deep. And you should notice that you're starting to move down to a feeling state. And that's what you're looking for. So that's one technique of how to get to the why and why that's important. The next thing that you can do to help with your procrastination and avoidance is to take this big task and break it down into smaller, manageable chunks. Okay, so think small bits. You may want to gamify it, make it fun. We like to do things that are fun. So if something's fun, you'll move forward. We'll move toward it. We move toward the things that we like and away from the things that we don't. So if you gamify it and make it fun, you may be more inclined to want to go and do it. Now, another thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to schedule it. Schedule the time, just like you would an appointment with a doctor, an appointment with an acupuncturist, an appointment with your physical therapist, an appointment with your friends, an appointment with a loved one. It's important to keep those commitments. So make a commitment to yourself and write it down. This is my time, and protect your time. Don't let other excuses come up or other reasons unless it's an emergency. And use your judgment. You know when something is important and needs to take a priority. So anyway, let's get back. The next thing I wanted to say, the key is to keep moving. And actually, when you're procrastinating and you're avoiding, you want to start moving, right? So just get in there and just start in small increments and set your timer. Now, the bigger your resistance to doing something, it's an inverse relation. You want to set a smaller timer to get yourself going until you build momentum. Because again, consistency over intensity is going to help you get there. So set your timer. You set your date when you're going to do it. You schedule your time. You set your timer, and then you do the thing. Okay? You jump in, you do it, you gamify it, you make it fun. And then when your timer goes off, you review what you've done and you appreciate it. Because when we feel appreciated, we're more likely to do it again. And we want to engage the part in our brain where it's that praise and reward center. And that makes us feel good. And again, we'll be more likely to do it again. So after you've appreciated and you've evaluated, you can take some time to reflect. What can I do differently next time? 1%, so I can get a little bit better, a little bit faster. What could I do differently? Oftentimes when we're doing something that we've been avoiding, we'll get distracted. And that's where the timer really helps. And sometimes I will, if I'm working on a big project, I will set a timer within a timer. So I know I've blocked off 3 hours to work on this thing. I set a timer for every half hour so that if I'm going through, especially if I'm going through boxes or some things I've put away for a long time, and I need to get through it quickly, and I have this chunk of time, I will set the timer for 30 minutes, because that way, as I'm sorting things, I tend to get distracted and I'm like, oh, and I remember, and I'm going down memory lane. And then the timer brings me back to the present and gets me back to the task at hand. So that's another technique that you can use, which is like a little timer within a timer. So that's what we have for our procrastination techniques, what you can do to kick it to the curb. Remember, consistency over intensity. So let's go through a quick summary here. Recognize that it's avoidance. Tap into your why. Make it smaller. Think small bites. Gamify it. Make it fun so you have a good time, because we do things that we have a good time doing. Set a timer. You know, the smaller, the bigger the resistance, the smaller the initial starting time. And then you can gradually increase it. You work 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You can build up. Word of caution here. Don't aim too low. Don't, push yourself a little bit. But don't overwhelm yourself. So if all you can do is 5 minutes, then that's good. But don't go, okay, I'm going to do it for a minute and call it good. Well, you can. How long do you plan on doing this thing? If it's a large project and there's a deadline, think about what you need to do, when you need to get it done, and how important is this. So factor that in when you're scheduling your time and what you want to do. Then you've done it. So review what you've done and appreciate it. Praise yourself. See, wow, this fine thing I've accomplished, and I'm going to do it again. So tap into that so you get excited and engaged. Schedule a time when you're going to do it again, right? Block that time out on your calendar and keep your commitment to yourself. Keep your word with yourself. That is critical. And then you're going to want to remember consistency over intensity. And that's how you kick procrastination to the curb. Again, there's a lot of information out there, so I encourage you, get curious, find out, read up about it. Until next time, this is Taz, Coach Taz here. Have fun, get inspired, and cultivate curiosity. Thank you. Have a great week. See you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.